Well, hi there, Joseph. How are you today?
I'll be fine, Miss Desiree. I'll be here out by the rodeo.
I love it. I love it. You look so good in that hat. It looks
It's
so
rodeo,
great.
the rodeo time, sister.
Yeah. So you are participating as a
I'm a committee member and I work Suites West, and we service the suites on the east side. And no, we're on the west side of the stadium, and we greet people as they come into the room. We make sure that the suites and the suite operators are well taken care of, and whatever they need, bring it to them.
So for those people who don't know what that is, let's talk about what that is, Mr. Joseph Petrie. This is the Houston Rodeo that happens every year in Houston, Texas. Why don't you give them a little bit of understanding of what that is?
Well, it's the biggest rodeo here in the United States, maybe in the world. There are 40,000 people that assist to put on this rodeo here in Houston, Texas. It's the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. And the sole purpose of the rodeo is to raise money for scholarships here in the state of Texas for the students. And so it's just this massive undertaking. Can you imagine 40,000 people in one location, transforming the city, supporting children in their college efforts, amazing headliners, a carnival. The children are out displaying their livestock from the year production, and it's just fun. It's something we all look forward to. People get on a saltgrass trail ride, and they may be out on the road for a week and a half before they come into Houston, riding their wagons and their horses.
I know.
And it's just amazing to see people embracing their culture from, for all of the segments of our culture, which primarily represent Houston, because we're the fourth largest city in the United States, and we literally have no ethnic majority. So there are all these people from the Black communities, the Latin communities, and the Anglo communities that come together on this trail ride. And they all merge at some point along the way, and then they come into Houston as a collective community. And it's really, I get chills just describing it, and I actually could tear up right now just talking about it because of all these people coming together to create something really unique.
I have to tell you that the first time you took me to the rodeo, I cried like a baby. I was so excited being here for such a long time and not actually going to the rodeo. I missed out on a lot. I'm looking forward to my next visit to the rodeo with you next week. So yeah, this coming Saturday, exactly.
Get your boots out, girl. Get them all polished.
You talk about something being unique. You can't ask for anything more unique than something like going to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. So that's what today we're talking about, what makes you unique. I taught a class today just talking about an overview of social media platforms. We never went into anything in detail. I had a packed class in that class. And I'm telling you, people were overwhelmed in regard to the amount of information that I gave out, even although I tried to keep it as basic as possible. But what was the most overwhelming for them was to hone in on what made them unique, which, in my mind, I was smiling thinking about it because, just knowing that they weren't able to think about themselves as individuals, to think about how they could make a difference in somebody else's life in their business,
right?
Amazed me, because every person in that room was good at what they did simply because they were there. They didn't even recognize that was a unique skill in itself. The fact that they were all in the same business, surviving, making a business out of it, they didn't see that as being unique in itself.
Right.
So, just recognizing that you are, as a unit, as one person, you're unique, and you can build on that, is a sense of awareness,
Yeah, and a lot of people really weren't brought up to focus on themselves.
Yeah, right.
Except for the younger generations since the millennials.
Right.
The millennials on down, they all show up and they all get a trophy, so they're all unique. But in my generation, maybe your generation, it was like, why are you bringing focus to yourself? Why are you bringing attention to yourself? And that's where it all begins with like with the rodeo. It's interesting how, okay, but this is my 5th or 6th year assisting around the rodeo. And last night there were more conversations about real estate because they see me as the realtor that assists.
Right. I got that.
It's one of the things that, because people do so many things that they just take for granted that really makes them so unique. Like something like this. What do you do in your community? What are you doing with your church? What are you doing to make a difference on the planet? And then people do that every day, and they don't think of it as something that makes them unique.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just looking at each thing that you do that you don't find to be abnormal or that you have to try hard at, that's what makes you unique. The fact that you don't even have to try at it, and it's something that you love, that's what makes you unique. And there's somebody else out there in the world they don't find it as an innate skill. And so they're looking for information where that is concerned. So it can be helpful. Thing is, when you sell a house or you sell a product, people are not going to be buying that product from you. That one particular person will not be buying that product from you every day. But how are you going to keep them engaged? What are you going to do to keep them engaged? You have to have something else to collaborate about. And that's where your uniqueness comes in order to provide other types of information, collaboration, interactions to keep them up to date on things that come naturally to you. Because if it's something that you're working on that is going against the grain, it's not sustainable. It's not going to be a sustainable activity.
Well, what's interesting, my experience with realtors, because I've coached and taught a lot of realtors over time, is that they feel as though they have to overcompensate for the fact that they're either new in the business or they're not real productive. And the bottom line is that really has nothing to do with about how unique they are.
Right.
So, like, are you native Texan? Are you Estonian? Are you bilingual? There are all these things and attributes that people have just inherently with them that has nothing to do with their production or that they're brand new to the business. If you're going to act professional, you're going to be authentic about who you are. People aren't going to ask you, well, how long have you had your license? Unless you show them and demonstrate to them that you don't know what the heck you're talking about.
Exactly. You're right about that. Thanks for joining us, Jonathan. Appreciate you checking us out, web designer and all-around tech enthusiasts. That's some of the things that makes Jonathan unique. He loves football and boxing. And he's a proud dad. Those are things that he can definitely build on in his business. There's a lot of people out there that for example, need assistance in web design, but they don't really know how to communicate with someone that does the type of work that someone like Jonathan does. And the way Jonathan, for example, would communicate with someone would be a unique skill, So anything that you do that is communicative, that is relating to someone where they can connect with you at a certain level, that's going to provide that potential buyer, that potential seller, that potential investor, if someone in your business that's purchasing your product, an opportunity to stay with you, because at the end of the day, they're going to want to work with you because the way they feel at the end of the day, they're not going to leave because they want to know that you have their interest at heart. And authenticity comes from just you being able to share who you really, really are and not going against the grain. It helps to build your identity and for you to be just an individual on yourself. You can definitely stand out and be different when you're just being honest. And, today when we were talking in class, we were talking about blogging, for example. We're talking about websites too. We're talking about hosting. And everybody was getting caught up about, well, where should I host and all this? And I'm like, well, before you even talk about that, you have to talk about in your mind, what is it that you want to offer? You need a plan. You need a plan in regard to what it is that you want to share with the world. If you don't know what it is you want to share, why even put yourself out there? And that was a hard thing for them to kind of grasp, because unique content is something that they find hard to believe that they had to offer. They didn't think that they even could offer unique content. And I'm thinking, how many people do you talk to every day? How many times do you respond to a question or have a comment to make to someone? That's unique content, right?
Yeah, I had to laugh because over in the rodeo, you get to go see the newborns.
Yes.
And they have all the little lambs.
Mm-hmm.
Baby goats, they're just jumping all over the place. So I just all of a sudden saw your classroom with a bunch of baby goats.
On Facebook?
Well, it's like, first of all, technology is, it changes every day, We can't keep up with it unless you're doing it 24/7.
Yes.
So it's like, I don't know if you ever saw the baby lambs and the goats over there. They just jump. They jump from bale of hay to another bale of hay, and they're just bong, bong, bong. And there's so much to absorb and to be authentic with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but they just need to come up and make a decision based on their curiosity, opening a dialogue and a conversation, because they'll never get it all at one time.
Exactly. And exactly what, they're not going to get it in one time. Exactly what Jonathan says there, they have to take their time with what it is they want to know. They have to be genuine. They have to be passionate about it. If you're passionate about something, you learn it. You've got to be passionate about it. He's correct. And sharing information with each other, not being afraid to share information. That's also something else that will help to move you along. Because if you hold it to yourself and not want to share what you know, believe me, you're not that unique to the point that if you think you know something that you shouldn't share it with a colleague. What can make you unique is to know also that your uniqueness is to share your uniqueness with someone else. Mm-hmm. That also helps to move you along,
With Jonathan, you said he's a boxer?
No, Jonathan loves, if you look, you'll see that he loves football, he loves boxing, so he loves sports.
Okay, I got it. Right.
Yeah, but he's a web designer and into technology.
Got it.
Yeah.
I thought he was a boxer.
No, he loves technology. Yeah.
The big thing on that word is like discipline. It takes everything requires a discipline, no matter whether it's social media, boxing,
exactly,
raising and birthing animals. It's just nuts.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
There's much out there for us today, and it's just wild.
Yeah, exactly. And so, knowing that you can give people information, build on your knowledge and share it with people using unique content on a blog, that will actually give you more people that's going to want to be a part and subscribe to your information on the internet, repurposing that information. So for example, take your uniqueness, put it out there on a blog, for example, and share it on your Facebook business page, share it on LinkedIn. If it is applicable to LinkedIn, put it on your Twitter page, put it on your Pinterest page, and more, you need to make sure you have a hashtag so that you can be branded with your own unique hashtag. That's also a very important aspect of marketing, is that your hashtag is available. Google pages, having a business page on Google. Thanks very much, Jonathan. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate that. Having a Google page is so important. You know, making sure that you have a Google page, business page. A lot of people, Joseph, don't have Google business pages. You know,
didn't they just have a big change with that? Like
they're always having big changes. Always having changes.
They're looking to hire somebody.
Yeah. And they've redesigned it. As a matter of fact, a lot of pages got wiped out, but now, you know, I've actually had to rebuild mine because I was underutilizing it. But it's you know, you have to build it back up. You know what I'm using now that's really helping me a lot in order to post there, because I found it laborious to actually post on there. I'm using Hootsuite. I'm using Hootsuite, and you don't have to go to the paid version of Hootsuite in order to post your data. You can use the free version of Hootsuite if you want to. So thanks for joining us, Joe. Appreciate you coming on board to check out our blog. Yeah, so you can start using Hootsuite, and that will allow you to post on more than one platform at a time,
right? And
repurpose your information. You know, I'm not saying you should post everything on all of your platforms. It depends on what it is. There's certain things, for example, you wouldn't want to put on LinkedIn, right? But it does control multiple platforms, exactly, and it's a great platform to use. I never expected Hootsuite to be so great on my mobile device. I love using it there. So I agree with Joe. It's a great tool to use. But start with the free one, and then you can always go to the paid version if you want to use a paid version. And it will truncate your URLs for you. And they just started with the videos where you can upload videos into Hootsuite. So it's a great tool. Really like that tool. But blogging, I still say that, you know what I've been doing too, Joseph, is if I find as if my head is just empty with what I want to talk about with blogging, don't laugh. My head is not always empty.
It's never empty.
You know what I do? I start looking at the pictures that I've taken, or if I find a picture that appeals to me, I look at that picture long enough until something comes to me. That's what I do.
You're inspired by beauty.
I'm inspired by beauty. Oh, Buffer. So tell me a little bit about Buffer. What is it about Buffer that you like, Joe? Give me a little bit of information about that. It's an alternative. Yeah, it is an alternative to Hootsuite, but do you like it better than Hootsuite, or is it just something that do you prefer it? What is it about Buffer that you like? I've never used it. I've never used Buffer before. I don't know even if they have a free version of Buffer, but I know that it's out there. But the whole idea of being, yes, it does integrate with Zapier, and Zapier allows it to have up to 3 zaps, I think, at a time that you can use. Guys, Zapier is a great tool in the real estate industry. For those of you who use Zip Forms, which is a new, you're able to actually use Zip Forms. Now that is with the National Association of Realtors. Zapier is integrated with Zip Form Plus, and you can quote unquote use Zapier with Zip Forms to automate some of your processes for free. But of course, it's encouraging for you to be able to automatically. They want you to go ahead and upgrade it. The free alternative to Zapier is IFTTT. If this, then that. So if you decide that you want to use IFTTT, then you can go to ifttt.com and create automatic responses. Why you have that look on your face, Joseph?
Or I was waiting for you to stop.
Oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart.
No. It's like, so IFTT.
No, it's IFTTT.com. If this, then that.
If this, then
that. That's what the acronym means, right?
I just wanted to hear it.
Yes, if this, then that. So I'll tell you what I love about If This Then That. My favorite out of If This Then That, my most favorite is when I post something on Instagram. Normally, if you post something on a third-party site, like if you post on Facebook, for example, on your business page, and your Facebook business page is connected to Twitter, right? Mm-hmm. It only puts the link, right, of that image. Well, what I've done is on my Instagram, if I use my hashtag, it will post the image on Twitter, which has made a vast difference in regard to the amount of hits that I'm getting on Twitter. So that recipe, they're called recipes, that I use on If This Then That, which is amazing. When you go there, you'll see it allows me to have an alternative in regard to what I want to put on Twitter, I just use one account. So if I want to post something there, I can. We have a brand new person connecting with us here. Manuel Diaz has joined. Thank you. She's first time on Blab. Welcome to Blab, Manuel. Welcome to Blab. Thanks for joining us. So that's one way that you can automatically connect and get your posts, over to Twitter without having to worry about losing the interaction because of the image. Your brain reacts like 80,000 times faster and responds better to images and video than just the text. So you want to be able to take advantage of that using tools like Zapier or IFTTT, right? Your clients, when you're working with your clients, being able to use some of these simple technologies. And I know when I say simple technologies, if you've never used them before, it kind of makes it a little bit difficult for some to understand. And I know I might sound like I'm using that too loosely for those who might not understand what I'm talking about. But once you do, it's not that difficult after you've tried it. It helps your clients to understand, let's say in the real estate industry, that you are helping them to promote their business, their listings, right? So you can give them examples of how you're going to be able to promote their listings if you're using some of these technologies. This is one thing that can actually help to make you sound more unique, is if you use some of those technologies, right? And it can help your clients to understand how you can help to benefit them in their business when you just give them examples, maybe even some screen prints of how you're going to show something different, something unique than the norm as to what they've already seen, since they already do their research on the internet. And once they've found you, what are you going to do that's going to be unique, different from what they've already seen? Is that making sense, Joseph?
Yeah, but you also need to ask them what their level of comfort is with the technology that you're talking about, so they're not lost in the conversation.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is just show them the result, not necessarily how you're going to do it, but just show them the result. Well, here's where we're going to be putting your information. This is where I'm going to be adding it. They don't need all the details of the process. That's definitely not necessary.
And also, I think you would have to have their permission to use it as well.
Yes.
To post their information there. See, it's like a lot of people. I'm not saying everybody, but some people think they think Facebook. My stuff is out there on the line. It's like, here again, being reassuring, saying I'm asking your permission to do this. This is one of the tools that I use. All of a sudden, their mind is put at ease. They're not worried about the booger in the room,
So in other words, explaining to them, I'm not talking about my profile page. I'm saying to you, I'm putting it on a business page.
Right.
We're not mixing my profile page with a business page. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very important thing to explain. Yeah.
Right.
And having a process, making sure you have a process already in place with regard to the way you're running your business. The way you do it today should be the same way you're doing it tomorrow. If you're going to modify something, make sure your business plan has been updated or your marketing plan has been updated. You have to be consistent with what you're doing so that you're not confusing your customers and so forth. You have to have consistency. If you're working on a team, everybody needs to know what's going on where that is concerned. You need to update them on that. You have a way of describing this when you say you want to back up what you say. I remember you explaining this once before. I'm trying to remember how you said it. I like the way you said it. It was, okay, it's not intention. What was it again? Do you remember?
In reference to?
When you say you're going to do something, you back up what you say that you're going to do.
Well, I probably usually under promise and over deliver.
Yeah.
Which is a common phrase, but it's like, I will never promise something I cannot deliver.
Right.
Like that. Well, I tell you, there's a saying an old friend of mine used to say. It's the further you go up the flagpole,
yeah,
the more your backside shows.
Yeah.
But it's like, and it's, people, when you're not authentic, it was like I was working with somebody last week and it was like, really? Could you be more inauthentic than you are right now? And why would somebody want to trust you? Because you're just making all these empty promises. And I personally don't get that you can deliver on that.
Right.
So it was just be authentic about it, be passionate about it, be concerned about it, but you better back up and deliver what you're going to promise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And responsive also. You have to be responsive in regard to your clients. Don't keep them waiting. If you have a specific hours, make sure your clients know what those are. If you have unique hours, if you know that you're not going to be available at a particular time, make sure that's known. Make sure you have autoresponders. Even on Facebook, you can set up an autoresponder on your business page now. You can use IFTTT to do that. It has it. Yeah, there are different types of recipes available for you to do that. Change it on your voice message if you need to, so that people know if you're definitely not available, that you're not available. Add it to your email. Add it to your email if you're not available, and change it when you need to change it. Make that change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I have a policy of not answering my phone. It'd be like if the phone rang right now and I picked it up and said, "Hey, how you?" Okay, yeah, well, I got it. We'll have to talk about this later. That is so disrespectful, right?
Correct.
I have it's been interesting being with people, and I say, you're more important to me than this phone call. If this was an emergency, I'd pick it up. And they say, "Oh, well, just take the call." I said, "No, you're more important to me." And what's interesting is they get it when they get it. They know I'm busy or I'm with somebody if I'm not picking up the phone. It's just a policy I have, and I let everybody know about it. What's more important to me is who's in front of me and not this phone call over here. That phone call can wait. Right. I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very, very important. And also privacy, your clients know that you respected their privacy. They understand that their information is private with you, that they can have the trust to know that whatever is said is kept in confidence, and being accountable. If you know that something, oh my gosh, Joseph, I didn't have internet. You know how long that was? 3 weeks that I was going back and forth with my internet. I thought I was going to lose my mind.
Exactly.
But I was accountable. I was in a webinar and I lost my internet, and I just went on. When I got an opportunity, I got my hotspot out because I had my hotspot, and I sent a message to everyone, and I told them the truth. I didn't lie about it. I just said, "Look, I'm sorry that this has happened. Can we reschedule? I would like to reschedule." And I actually used a survey to see how many wanted to reschedule. Joseph, everybody wanted to reschedule. Well, that wasn't the end of it. You rescheduled at another webinar, and what do you think happened? Went down again. Second time.
Wow.
What you do is tell people the truth.
Right.
That's all you can do. You have no control over the response of the truth, right? What people do when they respond to that truth. And do you know that 100% of everyone was like, we understand? Because they know that I'm not going to lie. I have no reason to lie. Okay. So again, I've had to reschedule it yet on this coming week for it to be done again, because I want to be accountable for it.
Third time?
The third time. Terrible.
Oh my God.
Yes.
You know, it's like I'm looking at this list of authenticity list, checklist. It says here, always be consistent and avoid mixed messages.
Exactly. You want to be as consistent as possible with everything you do, right? Very, very important. And nurture the people that are following you. And that's why I find it important that I, respond and let them know how much I appreciate their support in regard to what it is I'm doing. I want to make sure to nurture that. That's very important to me,
Probably
go ahead.
They probably felt sorry for you.
That's very possible. That is very, very possible. I know.
Oh my God, Desiree doesn't have the internet. The world is coming to an end.
They know. I felt like somebody had taken my navel string and just popped it off. It was gone. Nothing was there.
Say what?
I know, right?
No, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's your reputation is so important. When you have a good reputation, people know what your reputation is. You follow that up. You want to make sure that you back that up and just tell the truth. But we talk about reputation. Speaking of reputation, segmenting information. The question came to me today about politics. Somebody asked me the question about politics today when we were talking about social media. Excuse me.
I did not.
They did. Well, I like this. Somebody's Mr. Wake Up Better. Yes, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you being here with us. He's a trainer, entrepreneur, and coach. Thank you for being here. Hello. We were talking today about hello. Thank you for joining us today. We were talking about if I want to run my business and talk about politics and religion, how am I going to do that on Facebook? I said, when the person that was asking me the question, I see her all the time on Facebook, and she's always talking about politics and religion. And I said, you need to segment your information. I said, you can't just post whatever you want and think that it's not going to haunt you. You've got your clients, and I know she's got her clients and her personal information all mixed together. So it's exactly, it's just not a good idea. So I've told her, I said, segment your data. And she does not have a business page. I said, you've got to understand that that's your online brick and mortar when you have a Facebook business page. So please segment your information. That is your reputation online. And, it's important to make sure you've separated everything. So we spoke about that. And, and we talked about the fact that, yes, it's a part of what makes you unique. And if you're passionate about it, all you've got to do is segment it. No problem. That's not an issue at all. Just make sure you put it where it belongs. Thank you for joining, Ms. Danica. Appreciate you being here with us.
So what was the outcome of that?
Well, what the outcome was that we decided that we wanted to get our business page developed, and also we wanted to make sure that we not only segmented her information, but she was going to look at the opportunity of creating a blog that she could keep up. But being able to have, especially if you're really into politics, you can't change people's minds. So you really need to make sure that you keep it separate. That's such an important part of your business, is to keep it separate, right? I just
have to laugh given the climate of politics right now. It's just, It seems like the comedians are having more fun with it than anybody else.
Exactly. And you're right. You can only lose business that way. I know why you're laughing. I got it. You are so right. You are so right.
The new Saturday Night Live about Trump and racism.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that?
But you know what? That's their game. That's what they're known for. Political satire and everything.
Well, that's what's making him unique, right? That's what's making him unique. So
that's what's making him unique. But that's the genre of Saturday Night Live is to be irreverent. In other words, we expect that from them, and people either laugh about it or they're upset about it. But I don't know about taking on. I've always been told there are two things you avoid: religion and politics.
Those were my exact words in class today, and I didn't want us to sway into it in class. I just explained you're in a business world. Your product is something that you want to keep focus on, and you want to do that in a virtual world too. Don't forget that your business page is a virtual big brick and mortar. Right. You have to, and I find it so amazing how it's not something that can, just because you can't hold it in your hand like this doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? It exists. It's real.
It's like having a sticker on the side of your car.
Yeah.
On the back of your car, you're telling people who you are and what you represent. So
exactly.
Getting in your car, or let's say worse, they're following you. They're following you in a property tour, and they get to see your political affiliations there on the back of the car. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just what's people's perception of you.
Exactly.
It's no different on Facebook in a car.
That's it. So, if that's going to ruin you getting a commission, is it worth it? Keep it where it belongs. You know, just keep it where it belongs, because you might be able to, generate enough business from being in a group rather than just having it spread all over the place.
Right.
And plus, that's not what the profile page is for. Let's just be, realistic about that, and know your limits about what it is that you're doing.
Right. And also that it represents who you are, and it's like an email. You might say something in an email or whatever, and that's not your intent, or in a text. Oh my God, that wasn't my intent. How many times do we do that?
Correct.
But it's up to their perception before they even get to know you.
Correct.
Put a frame or a box around yourself, and just something that simple.
Yeah, we can get we could become figments of our own imagination, and we don't think about.
It's like Miss Dinker on the Miss Dinker on Downton Abbey. When she told the butler that maybe you're intimidated because I'm so exotic and something, whatever. He said, "Oh dear, that's a problem."
Exactly. She said, "It's just because I'm so exotic and I'm so educated." Oh well, that's a problem.
Meanwhile, he's writing the gossip column.
Exactly. Yeah. But if you don't have a goal and you have not defined your goal, then you really don't know where you're going. You got to work your way backwards, right? You have to have a purpose behind what you're doing. You got to share your mission and your passion and your enthusiasm. But I'll tell you something. If you share your mission and your passion and your enthusiasm with the wrong person, ooh, that's the worst thing you can ever do. That's right, Joseph. Talk about that.
Make your plan. I tell you what, this has transformed my life, because what I did is I took 12. I'm going to cover up my beautiful face. 12. I spread a 12-month calendar out in front of me. Literally looked to see what it is I was doing over a year. And I started by declaring my vacation.
Yeah.
And I looked at all the areas, like here's the rodeo, right? I block off time for that. Right. I also did a lot of work around landmark education.
Right.
There were two things that came out of it. I got to see how much time I generously give away. Right. I also got, because there are courses that I want to do this year and a vacation that I want to do this year, I have to take $10,000 off the top of my income. In order to achieve those goals. Well, the year-end vacation and partnership exploration. It's people from all over the world come to that. So that's 5 weekends. But not only that, I have to go to LA to participate. So it woke me up to, you've got to you got to take $10,000 off of the top of your income for that.
Got it.
So I got to look at, wait a minute, I'm doing what with my time, and how can I best serve myself, my community, and my clients with removing some of this stuff on my calendar. So this calendar is completely changed.
So in other words, what you're talking about is actually, recreating what your priorities are in order to
help me
out.
Yeah, you talked about goals.
Yes.
In your mission. It's like, I will always do the rodeo. I will always do things around Landmark worldwide. And I put it all into perspective. And in that moment, I was like, oh my God, look at my year. How do I have a real estate career? How can I be authentic to my clients or to the community of real estate?
That makes a lot of sense.
For me, because then I got to redefine my goals and my mission.
Got it.
I got to develop the purpose behind what it is that I'm doing for others other than just making money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, that's a big thing. And it's a big thing, and it's real simple. What was interesting in doing the exercise in the boot camp is everybody had their information here on the phone.
Right.
But they had to stop and look, oh, wait. They when they look at their phone, they don't look past a day. They look past a week. They got it. And what was interesting is everybody, all but one person said, oh, my God, I actually have more time to dedicate to my career. They were of the illusion that they used this and they knew what they were doing,
Yeah.
So it was a fun experiment. And for me, it woke me up to, oh my God, look what I'm doing to give my time away. Not that I mind giving my time away, but I also need to look at what's the impact that it has on my life. That's about being authentic.
So it really helped you to reorganize and reprioritize everything.
Right.
Got it. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So if we were to look back at it, we have to do in order to be authentic is that we have to define our goals and what our missions are for those goals. We really need to look at that, right?
Right.
I want to make sure that I talk about this. When we share what our missions are, what our goals and our passions and our enthusiasm is, we have to share it with the right people. We just can't share it with everybody. We have to be very careful as to who we share that with, because we want to share it with people who are not only like-minded, but we need to share it with people who we know that's going to uplift us also, right? That's a very important thing that we have to do. We have to also make sure that we back up what we say. If we are going to talk with our clients in a certain way, we have to nurture those people, right? We have to make sure to highlight the reputation that we have. We've got to be accountable for what it is that we say that we're going to do, right? We have to respect the privacy of our clients, and we need to be responsive to our clients. If we say we're going to do something, we've got to back it up. And we need to be consistent about what it is that we say we're going to do.
Right.
And one of the things I did forget is that we should also be charitable. We should also be charitable in our ways. Charitable doesn't always mean money. Charitable can mean money, but charitable can also mean just by giving out of ourselves, building campaigns on just being genuine with our time, being able to listen and not just hear, but actually listen to what somebody's saying. Just being all totally real and authentic. Right. Those type of things.
Really what it all boils down to is like, it's not who you know, it's who knows you, sees you as a human being, sees the value that you bring to the proposition, and they're with joy, they refer you to family, friends, and coworkers.
Correct.
For business. That's really the bottom line to all that we've been talking about.
And they're only going to do that because of the way they feel in the long run. If they don't feel a certain way, they don't feel good, they're not going to refer you. They don't, I have to refer you to this person because they made me feel awful. Mm-hmm. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not going to happen. So this has been good. This has been really good. Thank you so much for this. Let's see if we can take another gift. Let's see if that's going to, if we'll be able to share the last 30 seconds of our file. I'm going to wait 30 seconds and see if it'll let us do that. I'm going to hit that button in just a second here, Joseph.
I'm frozen.
You're frozen.
All right.
Okay, here we go. You know, I don't know why I have this picture. It still is giving me this.
Where did that come from?
Before we actually started. I'm not sure I know why that is. Yeah. So I don't know why it's giving us this picture, but.
I mean, it's a goofy photograph.
It's a very goofy photograph of me turned to the side. But I'm just going to share it now anyway and see what happens.
Back to me.
Huh?
You have your back.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It wouldn't even share it, actually.
Right.
Let me try one more. It's the same one.
Oh, well, let's not worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. So thank you all for joining. My name is Desiree Savory. I am a technology and accountability coach. I coach online and on site. My focus is to increase my online coaching with small businesses and also those in the real estate business. So give me a call if you have a question or go to my website. My website is DesireeSavory.com, DeSaveory.com. And this is Joseph Petrie. Joseph, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Joseph Petrie, and I've been in the real estate business probably longer than most of you who are with us tonight or have been on the planet. I do coaching. I lead boot camps in the Houston area. We'll eventually be traveling out to do those. God, there's so much. But bottom line is you can catch me at josephpetrie.com or you can email me at joseph@josephpetrie.com. Pretty simple for you guys. And I hope you've enjoyed this and look forward to seeing you guys on future chats.
Look forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.